Steve Moran has been training dogs for more than 30 years. He works with dogs from all over the country at his kennels in Cheshire. He worries that working gundog trainers will give up on traditional techniques in favour of reward-based training.
It means trick for treats. It means train your dog like a circus animal. All this has come, history is a wonderful thing because you can draw off it, yeah? And where they're getting these ideas from is circus trainers in America. It's on YouTube. Everything's on YouTube. Monkey see, monkey does. So now they're pretending that they've invented the wheel.
The question is about what is or what isn't defined as forced training. For gun dogs, Steve reckons that reward training can't replace the whistle.
With gun dogs, we use communication through the whistle. So a low peep, 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 that's everything's okay. If you went peep, 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 the dog would know through the tone of the whistle whether you were all right or come back here quickly. How can you do that with a titbit? Training a dog in a village hall to shake a paw and then give it a titbit, it won't work. It won't work in a pen full of pheasants.
The Kennel Club has a network of trainers it accredits. It promotes dog training using kind, motivational methods and positive reinforcement only.
We certainly wouldn't recommend smacking it. That comes back down to your positive reinforcement. The dog doesn't understand, you have to be so quick with your correction in that particular instance that by the time the dog's come back to you, if it's done something wrong out in the field, by the time it comes back to you and you then smack it, that's completely pointless. And again, trains the dog to have a negative experience.
Steve pours scorn on the Kennel Club's accredited training scheme.
I don't mean to come across as being aggressive or anything, but this is all nonsense. It's there in black and white. There's no governing bodies over dog trainers in this country or America. It's a fact.
The club says dogs are bred differently now, and there's no need for gun dogs to be treated differently to pets.
In often cases, these dogs are viewed more as a tool than a pet. And in the traditional terms, lots of, back in the day, dog trainers were breaking dogs. We've all heard of that woman with the choke chain. That no longer is the methods used, even in the traditional circles of of the shooting world. And the working dog doesn't need to be trained like that. Often these dogs now, they're not the hard dogs of the past. These dogs have been health tested. They've been bred specifically for bid ability, for temperament, as well as their working ability. So there's no longer requirement to train them in that forceful, harsh methods of the past. The positive training works just as well.
BASC agrees with the Kennel Club that the changing breeds require a different approach to training.
The things that I've certainly seen is that dogs have perhaps become softer. So maybe when I was a youngster quite a few years ago, dogs were harder. And by successive breeding, the working ability is still just as good, but they've become gentler, become softer, perhaps easier to train.
Steve is worried that the Kennel Club's methods won't work in many situations, even for ordinary pets, such as stock training a dog.
Do you think you're going to stop dogs chasing sheep with a bag of licorice all sorts? That's the reality of it. It doesn't work. It doesn't work in the real world. It works in church halls when you're training circus animals.
He believes that reward-based training is a fad.
You know what this reminds me of the Emperor's Clothes. The book, The Emperor's Clothes. They're all following off a script, but it's taking somebody like me and you who are saying, hang on, he's got no clothes on. It's just a reality check.
The Kennel Club runs the tests and trials for gun dogs. It's not opposed to owners using the word no.
Perfectly within your rights to say no, if he jumps on the sofa or he does something wrong in the field. But what you want to see is rewarding the positive behaviour that you do see. Like I said before, they learn through repetition. And if you find that the dog's not achieving something that you wanted to achieve through one particular channel, try something different. Like I said, the play sports, for example, with the Spaniels are a really effective tool of teaching them left and right, rather than the more traditional methods, which would have been to put a tennis ball out there, or, you can use a variety of tools.
You always do well, you'll always do better with the dog that wants to work for you. So, it's doing the job that you want it to do is the reward. But at times, you will have to correct a dog, but that doesn't mean that you have to be harsh. It's just about using the right method at the right time for the right particular dog.
Steve disagrees with the Kennel Club's approach. He says that the Kennel Club is trying to reduce the art of dog training to something like painting by numbers.
Dog training is subjective. How you get a dog to heel is different than I have a dog to heel. We can't be this pigeonholed, because it's like painting. It's an artistic thing. You're either born a gundog trainer or a dog trainer. You can be taught to be a handler, but every dog that comes to me, I start thinking outside the box. And I won't train your dog like I'll train Joe's dog or Bill's dog. I work with what that dog's got and harness it.
So I think discipline is important for any dog. We don't want any dog running across the road causing an accident, so it has to do what it's told. But that doesn't mean because a dog's well disciplined, does what it's told, it doesn't mean that training has to be hard to achieve that. It's all about developing the good points of your dog and stopping the bad points from developing.
There's not necessarily a one box fits all for anything. So, it's like finding a therapist. That not every individual trainer will suit every dog or handler or owner. So please do, make sure you do your research, have a look and try a variety of people out before you commit to a training method.
The stakes are high. In a letter leaked to Fieldsports News, Devon Minister Lord Zach Goldsmith dragged dog trainers into a mire of controversy about whether or not they can or should be accredited. Now trainers such as Steve are asking whether the London-based organisers of crufts should even have a role in field trials and working tests.